If you get a good corporate job with great benefits, you're going to be happy. And that's not necessarily the case. I did that. And it didn't lead me to that. It was other people telling you probably before the age of 20, that if you do this, you will be, so you were like, you looked up to these people like gods. You were just like, oh, okay, great. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make sure that I follow that path. And then when you reach that path and you get there, it's like, no, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. And then, especially growing up in Brockton, going, oh, I'm this sensitive kid, but there's something wrong with me because I'm so sensitive. I need to be a tougher male, and I took years to put on this armor and then realized in my 30s that there was really something missing there. It was this emptiness of, I wasn't allowing myself to feel fully. I was bringing myself into a place of denial because everything was right. I had to have it all together. I had to do it myself. And it made for burnout all the time, a few times a year. And that was a realization that I had where, no, the truth is underneath the armor and the masks that so many people put on in their lives. And it's about feeling the emotions of it and having the courage to be vulnerable and to have those deep relationships with people. That is what I think is true fulfillment, and what is the human condition, and why do we deny that? So
oftentimes, there's a lot of talk about women and, throughout their lives and whatnot. And it's very interesting to hear your side of things, as a male growing up, as you're saying, you were a sensitive kid and it didn't seem to fit that mold of like, you got to be a man. And what is that idea? Where did that even come from?
Right.
And how challenging it must have been for you, right? To redefine yourself.
100%. Well, it's truly, I think, the other people's projections on us, so there's that of programming that comes from others that's not necessarily yours. So I think now as we get older, we get to undo that programming and follow our own hearts, our own paths, so.
Where was that turning point for you?
I think when I started coming out here, when I remember allowing myself to feel sad for the first time, right? Like never allowing myself to get to that place of I thought I had to be this being a teacher, I had to be this positive role model and I had it all together and everything was fine. And it was this fake facade that I was putting on. As a kid, I lost a sister when I was 12. And at that point, that was the turning point of the mask building of okay, that was a sad, awful thing for my family. But now it's time to step up and, not get bullied and learn how to fight and do all these things. And that took me to a certain degree. I was like, oh, I have respect now. I'm not allowing myself to get buried. I'm gonna be this tough guy. I'm gonna be successful in sales and all this. And what happened was I realized that wasn't getting me that true fulfillment. And I can remember the first time I was out here in California, Marina Del Rey, 20 something years ago, and I was like, I'm sad, and I'm gonna let myself feel that sadness for a little while. I'm gonna allow myself to feel it. And then when a few years later, when I joined a men's team and I had all these men around me that were like, yeah, vulnerability is the key. Like, what's going on? Like, take that off. Stop being such a hammer and thinking you can do it yourself all the time. And having those men model that for me in that circle for 12 years, and then going through various leadership development positions within that organization, I was like, whoa, this is safe for me. I finally feel like I can trust people around me, where I never did that before. It was like, I know they're going to tell me the truth, whether I like to hear it or not. And that feels safe to me, even though sometimes it hurts to swallow that pill of truth. They love me no matter what, unconditionally. And I'm going to do the same for them, because we're on a team that we want to grow together. We want to grow, and we want to be the best versions of ourselves. And the best versions of ourselves are underneath all of that programming that existed for so many years. So
I love that. And it's, it's interesting to me because we hear, I don't mean this the way it's probably going to sound, but we hear women talking about these kinds of things regularly. They, we have these expectations of us, and we have all of these pressures put on us, and we're the caregivers, and we have to do these, this, that, and the other. But a lot of our recent podcasts, we've been talking about women's health and women's issues. And I love now to hear the man's side, because a lot of men I've known in my life the same way, especially my father. It's like, never let him see you cry. You can't be weak. You have to, I grew up with those things as well, even though that wasn't my role per se, but I just love that there are safe spaces for men to do that and experience those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And how do we encourage them more?
Well, I think it's understanding. How do we, I'll go there in 1 second, but I think it's understanding the masculine feminine dynamic within ourselves, right? And so there are men in that circle that have a lot more feminine, or in this world that have a lot more feminine qualities. There are women that have a lot more masculine qualities, and there's nothing, it's not about man, woman, it's about where are you and what do you hold, right? And how do we integrate that both? David Jada has an amazing book, a couple books out, that talks about the dynamic of the feminine masculine within individuals. Okay. And that, I think understanding that within ourselves and being able to be in that free, creative, feminine zone, right? That's where when I'm in that feminine aspect of myself, that's where the creative ideas come from. That's where I get to, put together an amazing retreat or workshop, because I'm in this space of dance and just, yes, joy, right? When I'm in kind of the masculine, I'm getting stuff done. I'm just, okay, check, great, fantastic. So doing that and understanding that and knowing that it's okay, right? Because so many people are in the state of, oh no, I can't be, I have to be this because this is what my uncle taught me, or this is my grandfather taught me. No, this is the dynamic that we're trying to bring up. And I think the new leadership paradigm is having both together, not just this patriarch, what we see in leadership right now. That's tumbling down, whether they like it or not, whether we like it or not. It's crumbling, and they're fighting every step of the way to keep that up there. Yeah. But that can't sustain. It won't sustain what it is. We get to train new leaders the way it should be, in the way that I was just talking about, so that this whatever new corporation, governments, countries have this new way of being, so that people feel safer, so that they can live their true life's purpose. And it's not just about, this is what I should do. No, this is what I get to do. And they start owning their lives. So how do we do that? We train, we work with people, we create weekends, weeks, we implement this into corporations, we bring breath work and all of these modalities that will allow people to touch themselves, to see who they are, to put the mirrors up, right? And that, those little tiny niblets, those drops, those whispers will eventually stay with them, because you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unsee the truth. People know what they should be doing, but when they tune in and start to listen to that, then they get to do the work and move towards that, and hopefully pass it on.
That's the stuff that we want to pass on, right?
Exactly.
To cultivate this space of, like you said, sort of empowering your masculinity when it's appropriate to, and also your femininity, right? Or the feminine side of you, for each individual to kind of own that, understand that, cultivate it, because it is our human experience. We're never just one thing, right? We're so multidimensional. And I think that's so important what you're talking about now, because you might be listening to this man or woman and hearing you say that I have either masculinity inside of me or femininity inside of me and thinking, wait, what? And I think that that's a space to explore, because even having that reaction is sort of underlying what we're kind of talking about, right? Instead of just embracing each side or each quality, because again, it is just our human experience and we are allowed that. And, when you're talking about like passing things down, it's kind of funny. We've been watching a lot of, my daughter loves to watch like animal shows. There's lots of them on Disney. And we were just watching like about the monkeys and the elephants and things like that. And so there's a hierarchy there where they need to show, the elders need to show the young how to survive, how to do things, how to be in sort of on the planet, right?
Right.
But what separates us from that is we don't necessarily have to. And while there are skills and things that we do need to learn, labeling or that kind of direction is not something that suits our human experience. Like you should do this. Once you get that job, Chris, you're going to be all right, right? You get your family, you get your wife, you get your kids, and that job, once you hit all 5 of those, you're good, man.
House,
you're good.
Of course. Right.
Yeah. You got to have it all, but then you're good. And so that's the interesting piece of it. Like, this is not the stuff that we need as children or young adults, especially from people that we think know everything. And why wouldn't we? Because they're who we trust,
Right. Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday. We have a community where we're able to do some really deep work together, and we have some really authentic, amazing friends that we get that have these conversations, have real life that like we're having right now. And it's unfortunate when I see kind of in the neighborhood or kids' friends or acquaintances, you get to these barbecues or parties and you start talking, and it's kind of like you see that there's an intrigue. There's like, oh, I there's something there, but then there's like that pullback. It's like, oh no, I can't go there. And what I've learned, and what I was talking to a friend about last night is, you drop the hints, you tell them what you do, you share your experience of what you have gone through, right? And when they're ready to make that move, when they're ready to step into their power, then that's okay. Because I used to be like, no, you need this. And it's not the way to enroll somebody. Enrollment comes from story. Enrollment comes from experience, from here's where I was. This is what happened to make me change, to shift, feeling that emptiness, feeling that there's something more for me here. What is that? And then that change of what do I need to do in order to move into that direction? Working in medical device sales, when my wife I was doing great in the fitness industry, fantastic, plenty of money. But when my wife got pregnant, I was like, that old shift for the first 15 years ago, that was like, she's pregnant. Oh my God, we got to move back to Boston. I got to get a job in the corporate world. So what's the highest paying sales job I can get? Let's go medical device, right? So I did that. I landed a job, got into it. It was kind of cool because I got to be in the OR, working with doctors and stuff. But after about a year, I was like, I'm back again. That same thing is here. That same missing thing. I'm not fulfilled with what it is. What is it I need and want to do? I want to teach. I want to serve. I want to instruct. I want to, do the work on myself, right? And then I realized, what do I want to give my kids? What do I want them to do when they get older? And that's follow their hearts. Do what they love. Don't do what somebody else tells them to do. Do what brings them joy. And how could I say that to them and not live it myself? And so then I made this shift, and the universe said, okay. And here's the universe challenged me. The universe said, are you sure? And I was, and then all these other jobs came in with more money, right? When I decided to leave, because the resistance, the ego, the universe is testing you. Every time you make that choice, the resistance comes up and the universe is like, nope, we're going to change. And it was like, no, I'm making this decision. And when I made it very clear and I was very deliberate everything lined up beautifully. It was like my wife got her job temporarily, and then I was able to transition out, and within 3 to 4 months, everything was back and rolling. And it was just like, I'm never looking back. This is what I am born to do. This is what I love to do. Is coach, is teach. So
yeah, and I think that's a place where I don't have children of my own, but I can say from my own experience and from where I see other people's kids going, it's giving them the guidance to be able to do the things that are important to them, to be okay with being who they are. You know, I was raised with the opinions I was given. I followed the educational path and the work path that I was told I wanted to follow. And when I finally grew an opinion of my own, it was like, wow, you know, there's a whole world out there.
yeah.
And still this, until we moved to Italy and I was away from everything and said, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up now? You know, I mean, I had to wait till age 50 to start. So I hope that other people can get started a lot earlier. You know, it's never too late. But I love when you decide, I heard this once, and I'd love your feedback on this, is once you decide the what, the how shows itself.
Yes. But two things on that. First of all, how inspiring that you did it at 50. Like, there's so many people that think it's too late. Their kids might be here, or they have this job but that's the whole thing is, no, it's not what you just said. It's not too late. The universe will conspire. It will line up, but having that clear, deliberate intention is what a lot of people, I think, fall short on, right? Not having that clarity. It's kind of, well, this might be nice. Maybe we should, that would be cool if, but it's like, nope, this is where I'm going and this is what I want to do. Then the things line up. I think I love the metaphor of I know we climb hundreds of mountains in our life, hundreds of mountains, thousands, some of us, but we're going to reach the top of all of those, but not once have you ever said, I'm going to go from this point to that point to that point. The path has never been perfectly clear.
Yeah.
The path reveals itself in the just right ways. And when you get to the top, you look back and you go, oh, I needed to go to that place to learn that lesson so that I could go that way in this direction and da, 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 da. And it's like, it unfolds in the just right ways and just right times. And knowing that, or having the faith that that's going to happen, because it's happened hundreds of times in the past before, thousands of times, that you just have to hold that and trust that it's unfolding for you, but be clear. So.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people sell themselves short because their energy is focused on, I can't let go of this money, or the ego says, no, but how am I going to pay my bills? Or what about all the stuff I have, you know? And again, it's just stuff. Tiffany and I were just talking about that before. It's like, I have had the urge to purge. It's like, I want to create space around me. I want to get rid of stuff. I don't, you know, we don't need it, but there's that almighty quest for accumulation, and we don't accumulate the right energy. We accumulate stuff to block it.
Yeah. One of my friends is one of the minimalists. If you guys seen that on Netflix, Ryan Nicodemus, and he created this book and this Netflix show around exactly that. Is clearing the clutter, is getting rid of all of the things we don't need. And they both have pretty amazing stories around it to clear themselves. It's not just the stuff, it's the internal clutter. So,
and thinking about the impact that we have on all the other people around us.
Yes.
I don't think people realize how massive that is.
As we do the work on ourselves, that exactly what you just said, Julie, as we do the work on ourselves, that impacts the others. It gives them the example of, it clears the way and says, well, you can do it. I'm going to do that as well. I'm going to make sure that you showed me that it can be done. So the more work we do on ourselves, the ones around us get inspired. Even if they don't tell you, there's something there. There's something there that you're doing. So It's all we can do is to work on ourselves first.
That's right. That's right. And Chris, it sounds like when you were talking before, when you said that, you were feeling, empty and sad and this and that, to me, what I heard was you were being called home a few different times before you accepted the actual invitation.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. And I think the home is in the heart. No, it's that's the place where we need to feel, and it's blocked by so many emotions, and having the courage to feel those feels finally, right? Because if you're not, you're exhausted.
Right.
If you're not being honest with yourself, that's what's leading to burnout. We pretend, we push. I've pushed through so many things in my life that I was like, yes, I'm going to do this over and over and over again to prove. And what it was I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel worthy enough, and going and doing all these ultra endurance events and triathlons and marathons and bike racing and being on my bike for 6 days a week out. I loved it. But what I realized is I was also numbing myself. I was also running from what I didn't love. I remember going to Moab to do a 24-hour mountain bike race. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that because when I did that race, I didn't look around and take in the beauty of what Moab was. I didn't look around to kind of say, how do you feel? Check in with you in this moment. I just went there to get it done and get it over with so that I could prove to myself that I could do it. Right. And I think so many people do these things or reach for these goals. And not to say that doing that stuff isn't incredible, but why are you doing it? And I think a lot of people, especially being a coach, they do it because there's a worthiness thing going on within themselves. They're proving themselves over and over and over again. Because if you really are able to sit with it and be in that space of, how is it I really feel? What is it I'm really here to do? Right. And when we get past that and say, yeah, I'm worthy, you are all worthy right now. We're all worthy. You don't have to do anything else right now in this moment. You were born worthy and you always have been worthy. And when you can accept that and believe that, that's when things start to shift in your life. I do deserve this. I do deserve to be happy. I do deserve to be fulfilled.
Chris, it sounds like, you said you were in your 30s, you kind of experienced a few different voices or what have you, again, you accepted that invitation to come home. And what changed for you after that?
I think my ability just I changed from trying to fill my cup to go after success, so to speak, to be in service. Like I understood the meaning of what being in service is, right? And being able to give back, right? And in doing that, there is a huge paycheck you get that it's not about money, right? So when I understood that, because I was always brought up with, as soon as you make this amount of money, or if we win the mega bucks, if we do, then we can do this, and then we can do that. I mean, my parents gave us a lot, but there was always that place of, no, there's still not enough. Mm-hmm. We're going to be chasing this, or if we had this money, then we could get this. It was never settled into, okay, you have enough right now.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't, they didn't do anything wrong. They were amazing parents. They are amazing parents. They're still alive. But that was the mindset. Italian, 8 kids, right? My mother, right? I have 100 cousins still living back in the Boston area, over 100.
Yeah.
So my mom, she grew up, just kind of having just enough, or barely getting by, so to speak, with having 8 siblings. So that energy coming from my parents was, when we win this, when we do this, when we get there, as opposed to here we are now.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to learn, is here we are now, and look what you have.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't mean you're going to chase it. You're still going after things. But you're slowing down and taking in the beauty and setting these goals and going, yeah, I'm going to take my time and really savor these moments.
Yeah.
You're having experiences.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Bob, he says, and he defined it so beautifully, and I'll try to do it justice, but he says, the definition of success to him is not your resume, it's not your jobs, it's not the car, it's not the stuff. It's, can you be at home with yourself?
Yeah.
Then and only then are you actually successful. And as much as I've always felt that, it was just, when somebody puts words to something that you already truly understand but can't define it, it just becomes such a space, and you're exactly defining it here and now. Also, it's not any of these things or stuff, and so often, especially kids, I find that they'll say, what would you do if you won, $1 million, or what would you do if you, what would you do, and I think, it's time to flip that question and say, what would you do if you had to spend 5 minutes with yourself?
Yeah.
What would you do to be at home with yourself? What does that look like? And more, what does that feel like? Because I feel as though most of us in a societal space don't actually know what that is. There are so many distractions. And, Chris, like you were saying, well, if I don't feel, but the funny thing is you were feeling it, but probably not in a productive way, not in an open way. And, you talk about the universe a lot. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. It's something that I, have really let go of myself, where you just say, universe is the higher power here. I can't fight it. I can only become it. And the more you manifest that, the more the money will follow, the more the people that you serve will follow, right? You create this complete solar system.
Right.
When you allow that universal space, you've taken that ticket home. Now you're home, and now you're just exuding all of this light and all of this goodness and whatnot of being home, because you are there.
Right.
So now you have this whole solar system, right? We all have our solar systems. But if we think about what do we want, how do we want that to be shaped? How do we want, in the people that we attract into our solar system? Because if you're not in a good space, you are attracting people who also aren't. But when you are, you're attracting, we're here now, now you're in our solar system and vice versa, because we're connecting on this human experience.
Right. It's two things to that. You were saying, if they had $1 million, right? If you told kids this, what was shown to me, well, first of all, 70% of people that win the lottery end up going bankrupt in the first 4 or 5 years. Well, that's a worthy thing. It's not that, they don't know how to manage the money, but it's also, they don't know how to use it productively, right? To do what we are meant to do. So, I was told that one of the weekends I attended, and you go, okay, I'm going to hand you $100 million, right? And then you go and you travel around the world, you buy your houses, you have enough money for life. 2 years goes by, you're sitting in your, beachfront property. Now, what do you do? Where do you go? Right? What is it you're going to do? That's when you get to look inside and you say, okay, enough, do I need another car? Do I need another house? No, what we're chasing is I need me. I need myself to feel really fulfilled and stop putting all of this stuff in front of me. Now, how can I use this to better this place, this world, these people around me? I want to leave this place better than I found it. How can I do that? Right. And that's the true essence of where we're at, of what we're supposed to do. And then the other thing you mentioned was around the people that you surround yourself with. What do they say? You're the sum of the five. You are the sum of the 5 closest people to you. Right. So you look at the people that, and I get the whole family thing. I understand that, right? Because I come from a huge family and I love my family. I'll always love my family, right? But if I'm in an environment where, who are these people that I choose to put myself in the majority of the time, right? Boundaries aren't about stay away from me, I'm going to put up this barbed wired fence. Boundaries are loving and caring, right? Some people aren't ready. We talked about this earlier, to step into their power yet. And that's okay, right? That's okay. And I had to learn that with my dad, who's an alcoholic, when he's ready to stop drinking, he'll be ready to stop drinking. I can love him all I want. I will always do that. He's a great person, but I stopped getting triggered and disappointed and getting taken down because he would drink, right? That wasn't something that I learned to kind of go, okay, I'm going to put up a boundary. I'm going to say, you're doing you, I'm here, call me, or I'm going to call you and check in with you, but this is the choice. And same thing with my mom, who chooses to kind of go through that. She can't do it for him. He's on his path, doing his life, living his karma, choosing to make these decisions. And a lot of people in our lives choose that. I can't tell you how many family members have said, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And I was like, sure. And I give them an action step to do, a challenging one, not over the top. And it's like 99.9% of them never do that, right? Because it's this exchange of, oh, you're going to help me. And I'm like, okay, well, you didn't do this, so I'm not going to help you, right? But I still love you, right? It's an exchange of doing things for others, right? When you meet that resistance, you step through that resistance and you have the discipline to do the work, that's what leads to your freedom. Discipline isn't about suffering. Discipline equals freedom, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. And it's, Jack, I love Jack Canfield, and one of his seminars, he was talking about breaking down the word satisfaction, and satis, the prefix is about enough, and fakere is the verb to do, and so enough doing, right, is basically what those pieces of the word mean. You have to take action. And I, as a nutrition coach, so many people come in and say, well, I want to lose weight and get in shape, but I don't want to change what I eat, and I don't have time to exercise. What can you do for me? And oversimplification, but ultimately that's kind of the attitude. Well, I saw this diet, I saw this thing I can tape to my body or whatever that, will do the work for me. It's like, oh, how nice for you, come back when you're ready to make some changes and we can talk. But
that pill, right? That magic pill.
Yeah. Right. But it sounds like, Chris, that could be what you've experienced also. They're asking for your help, but I think the underlying tone is fix me. Yeah. The underlying tone is you do it for me, because you seem to know what to do, right, Chris? They see you've changed, and you're even exuding something different, and they say, well, I want that. Okay, you give me that. But if you're not really truly ready, it's not something tangible. It's not like, do these 3 things and you're good, right? This will be it. It goes to the same thing as like, oh, you've lost a lot of weight. What did you do? Yeah, I'll do it too, right? Like, no. It's a completely different space to be held, right? Like, here's some steps to take. And it sounds like probably what you're doing again, Chris, going back to that, is just inviting them home, even just for a second, see how it feels. Yeah. And then they say, well,
well, not yet. And I go, okay, you're not ready. No for now. No for now.
Yeah.
No for now.
Yeah.
And but what I'm looking for, when I work with clients, the importance of an exchange is vital to that, right? Like, when I say what I charge, right? And here, I'm going to work with you for a year, and here's what my clients pay me. And then there's that moment of, oh, okay, this is getting real. Now, this isn't about me collecting the money. That's part of it, right? Of course, I have to live and feed my family and this and that. But it's the exchange, the currency, not the money, the currency that they're showing to the universe. The spiritual exchange that's happening, right? The fact that they're paying for a service that's costing them their hard-earned money, which is energy, which is labor that they put into something in order to get something back. If that exchange isn't there and it's not strong enough, they're not going to do the work to do that. When I hired my first coach years ago, right? I was I was working at a studio that was paying about 40% of my income, 30, right? I got elected to, I was leading the division, the organization I was working for. I just got elected. And when they say, when you step into leadership, and I was the CEO of this organization, I just got elected. And everybody told me, well, when you get elected, you're going to really step up into leadership, and all these things are going to happen for you. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I'm excited. This is fantastic. So I was all starting up, in charge of a 100-person organization. 2 days later, the studio I was working at, 40% of my income shut down, just stopped. Walked in, they say, we're closing our doors, right? We moved a week later, right? I said to my wife, I go, all right, I need some help with this. I need to go and do some things differently than what we're doing. I think I really need to hire a coach to help me really change my perspective and get into this new way of being. Did not have the money because we just lost this. I was like, I talked to her, I go, it's going to be this much for, a month, for a year. And she's like, she looks at me and she looked at our money and she goes, I think you have to do this. I think you have to do this. And she understood the importance of exchange, right? Did it make me uncomfortable? Yes, that's the whole point. When you step into something new, it changes who you are. It brings up the butterflies and the nervousness, and your whole demeanor starts to change. But do you lead with that fear, or do you lead with courage? And in that time, that year's time, she showed me how to really manifest things. So within a month, I had my first client. Within 3 months, I had 3 more clients. It just snowballed. And I was like, my rates were going, and I was like, I made it up within this much of time. It was all there because I had the courage to step into it, even though was it scary? Hell yeah. But that's the whole point of making change, I think, is seeing the scary, seeing the fear and going, no, but you're not driving today. Courage is going to drive. You can stay in the back seat. And I like the point that you're giving me a little nudge in the ribs once in a while, but this is what I need to go. This is the goal for this year. This is what I want to have shift in my life. And that was the whole thing. And the big part of that whole thing was, her big thing with me is slow down. Slowing down was the big part, is savoring what was coming in. And that right there, I think that exchange that occurs, and now it happens all the time. It's not just with the coaching clients, it's the pact that you got to make in life is what's the exchange? And then you get back what you put out in anything you do.
I have a
It sounds like a
coach-
bit of a, sorry, Julie.
No,
It sounds like a spiritual investment.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
money, currency, current, energy, it's all energy. And I have a coach who says the transformation begins with the transaction, but it isn't always just about the money. It is, like you say, it's that energy. It's that it's willing to put fear to the side and just take the step that your heart is telling you it's time to take, and believing that success is inevitable, basically, that it's going to happen.
That's right.
And fear, just, I know for so many people, and myself included, for a long time, it's such a big thing. So you were talking before about a number of different modalities that you use to help people. Can you talk a little bit about some of the modalities that you do use?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I think exercise is vital for us all. Moving energy, right? I've been a big yoga component since college. I was up in Fitchburg State University, where I went to school, Northern Mass, and we had a teacher that said, hey, come take this class at this church at the basement of, and it was yoga. And I was like, and I was played football, college football, and I always started working out, weights, and and I was like, I couldn't believe how hard it was for like a football player I was like, this is because it forced you to be within your body, right? Yoga for me is a spiritual thing because it's all about moving energy within myself, right? So no matter what, I've been doing it since then. 25 years. It's been a staple, a foundation of who I am. And I'm a bigger, muscular person that you look at it, goes, no, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Yes, I think guys, first of all, that have more, it's not about getting bigger biceps, it's about opening up your hearts a little more. It's about opening yourself and not crunching over and getting, stronger. Yes, weights are important, but it's the understanding of how do you sit within a pose and feel yourself first. How do you open yourself up and feel that energy move through? And when I get done with a hard class, I feel so good. And I know most men or women that are tighter, both, when you do that, there's a connection that you get to not only yourself, but to a lot of things around you. So there's yoga, meditation, right? Sitting with yourself. I know that scares a lot of people because you have thoughts that go on in your head, right? You have 70,000 thoughts a day. Of course, you're going to have thoughts. It's not about not thinking. It's about understanding that those thoughts are not you, right? It's when you recognize that you are often a thought and you're able to bring yourself back to center, to the sensations in the body, to the moment, to the sound of your breath, to the visualization of your breath, to the feeling of your belly distending and coming back, of your heartbeat, of a sensation, your fingers rubbing together. That is presence. And that's what meditation is trying to bring you, is just presence. And when those thoughts come in and you recognize that, that's what makes you stronger, right? And then eventually the void starts to happen where you're just like, oh, nothing happened. That's beautiful. That's like that place. And why do we do that? Is to lower the cortisol levels, is to bring ourselves to a place of just peace. So that, the studies are out. Millions and billions of studies on how amazing meditation is for you. But then there's also breath work, which is a holotropic type of deep breathing that you do for an extended period of time. I was actually doing a big retreat this weekend on Saturday night. And what that does is, again, normalizes the nervous system. A lot of people have physical sensations with it. A lot of people have mystical experiences. There's no telling what it is, but that's the same thing. It's about letting go. It's about overloading your body with oxygen, with CO2, with clearing out the stuck energy. They say the issues are in the tissues.
Yeah.
So if you can move those, if you had a surgery or an injury, there's probably a lot of stuck energy in there that comes out as emotions. Think about when you get stressed, where do you hold those emotions? Right. I had a client who eventually she started the online healer community that I work for, Calmnest, and she took my class for the first time. She tells a story that she came in and she just thought it was going to be a gentle breathing class, like and it's going to be nice and calm. And she had this she just found out her dad had cancer. She had this back pain and all this and all that. And she ended up going through this class, 45 minutes of deep breathing. The breathing is like so you're really loading yourself up. And she had this calm and peace and this crying and these emotions that came out, and she got done with it. And the back pain was gone. And she has never felt it again. Her dad's fine now, but she had to come to terms with that aspect of her and how to deal with that. And from there, she started going into all these other modalities, and now she has this amazing online business she started. And so that's just one of thousands of examples that I could give from this. But it's one of my favorite classes I teach right now, because there is such a transformation that happens in the breath work. And then Navy SEALs are actually using that in their training right now, the same type of thing. Because think about, when you're under that type of pressure, right? If something comes up, a trigger comes up in that high environment, that's going to cost you your life, right? So this is used to bring yourself centered, to bring yourself into a place of calm and peace, so you can make those right decisions and trust your instincts that's going on. It basically allows you to get to the depths of your soul in a really short period of time. And it can be emotional, and that's okay. I used to be a really empathetic crier. Like if I saw somebody cry, I'd be like, oh. And now I look at somebody who's in the middle of a session and is having an emotional experience, and I go, that's beautiful, because I know what's in the middle of that. I know what's in the middle. There's a lightness that happens, a beauty that happens. So feel those feels. So that's just a few of them.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
do you teach it too, Tiffany, or we were talking about that before, right? Breath work.
Yep. Yep. I do teach some breath work myself, not how you facilitate it, in that like holotropic method, but nonetheless, you are the only person that I've talked to thus far that is breathing out of their nose in between sentences. So I really appreciate that.
I'm breathing out of my nose in between sentences.
When you stop, you're taking in air through your nose, which is it's just not common. So I'm actually really enjoying that. It's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing.
It was funny because there was one, and I'm using the mic today, but there was one I had to use audio podcast, and it was too, like I heard it and it was like overwhelming. I hope it's not overwhelming this noise.
Oh gosh, podcast.
No. Okay.
No, again, it's just because that's what I'm attracted to at this point, in terms of the breath work, that of course I'm, aware of it and appreciative of it. But there's something, that I really talk about with breath work, and Julie knows too. It's really where you can come home. It's a quick and easy method to bring yourself back to yourself, because as I define it, you kind of have this mind, body, and spirit, but oftentimes as a society we're extremely disconnected from one, two, or maybe all of them. And, if you are disconnected from your body, just spending a few minutes, just even noticing your breath. There's no right or wrong to breathing. Yeah. There's more efficient, sure. There's more functional, sure, which I'm happy to go over, and I'm sure you are too. But at the end of the day, we're just talking about consciously breathing. Because if you're consciously breathing, that is a form of meditation. And what is meditation? A way to return to yourself. So if you are just noticing your breath for 30 seconds, hooray, you did it for 30 seconds. It's not, there's no all or nothing here. It's just a matter of using something that's on you at all times. Like yoga is great, exercise is great. I love every modality that you spoke of. But the difference is when it comes to just breathing, that is something we are doing all day. And it's a tool that we have on us at all times. And it's something that we can utilize, and nobody has to know, because we're all breathing. We might just be doing it a little bit more calculated or a little bit more aware, so that we are centering ourselves with ourselves.
Right.
And that's how I see it best.
That's beautiful. And that is, it's just picking the thing that you're trying them all on, and what works. You're like, no, that's not for me. Or maybe it is, but there's resistance that came up, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, I'm going to give this a few shots and then see if that's the thing. But try it on. If you're not trying it on, you don't know, but give it a couple things. Another one is box breathing. 4 breaths in, hold for 4, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, inhale for 4, hold, and just repeat just the counting aspect of it. That's another great one you could use.
Helps to calm your nervous system.
Nobody has to know. Yes.
Right. You're just doing it. You're inviting yourself back home. And I love what you're talking about with the breath work too, because obviously it's something that I'm deeply passionate about. But again, it's just that invitation to step into yourself just with your breath. And it really can help. It really can change you and change things. And, you're talking about before, it's like, I'm here. I'm always ready. I'm always willing and able to help people, but it doesn't mean everyone wants to be helped. But sometimes you do need to experience, right? So just experience doing the box breathing just for a minute, and then you try it on, because Chris can tell you how great it feels. and how much we're aware and how much it centers you and how much it calms your nervous system. But if the other person that's listening doesn't actually take the time to try it, well, then it's just a thing.
Right.
You have to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And
to have the courage to go into it. Go ahead,
well, and
Julie.
that's, I look at, when it comes to new things, I'm a weird combination of fear and crazy courage. And, you know, for my 40th birthday, I decided I wanted to go skydiving and nobody would go with me. So I just went and did it, you know. But when it comes to the breathing, I did a workshop with Tiffany and we've been learning. And I know I feel better when I do the box breathing, especially before we started talking today. I couldn't stop yawning. I don't know why. Like, I just couldn't stop. And of course I got her started.
Yes.
It's like, just do some box breathing. It's
Right.
fine. You know, and when you get to a point like in menopause and Hashimoto's and things that are known to make you very foggy brained, the breathing is just an amazing way to kind of come back to yourself. But I always liken it to the way my grandmother approached eating. She said, you have to try 3 bites. If you don't like it after 3 bites, you don't have to eat it anymore. But, you know, you have to try 3 bites. So if I'm going to try a new activity, I always try it at least 3 times.
Yes. No, you have to. That's anybody that's trying it. They should make the commitment right now, 3 times.
Right.
Yep.
And then we'll talk, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
So Chris, you mentioned, you know, a couple different ways, you know, in which, you know, you help clients and whatnot. You know, you mentioned retreats and all of that. So what does it look like for you now? What is it, you know, where do you find yourself most helping people, or how do they come to you? What does that look like?
So I work in different ways. So I'm working for organizations. I just got back from Cabo, worked with about 50 CEOs and their spouses, and we did a whole bunch of, you know, what we're talking about now. It's just opening yourselves up, getting real with what's happening in your life, in your business, and then adding some modalities of breathing, right? Of breath work, of bringing them in. I'm not going to give it away, but I like to bring in really uncomfortable, shocking situations to my workshops, and very interactive. So there's talking. It's not just about getting talked to. It's like, what is an experience you can have? So we're in the process of creating more weekends, men's co-ed weekends, boys weekends, or, you know, I think boys are having a hard time getting initiated into life. What is that? Right? So how can we create these weeks and weekends? So I work with people one-on-one as well. So, you know, creating a discovery call. Am I the right fit for you? Are you the right fit for me? You know, it's generally a 6-month or year-long endeavor that we go on. And it's not just about having a phone call. It's like, where do you want to be in a year? And let me support you to go through that. Let's do this together. I'm not going to do it for you, but I'm going to hold the mirror up and I'm going to get really honest with you. And I'm going to tell you things that most people won't tell you, because it's not about being a friend and making you feel all warm and fuzzy. You will, but this is going to be the work that you get to do is going through that. And then I work with different, like I said, companies will have me in for talks and different things, some Zoom workshops that I do. I'm recording a series of workshops right now, like owning your story, releasing shame and guilt, unleashing your why. You know, I love helping people find their why. You know, I really think that our stories, the things that we have been through, the hard things that we have been through in our lives, have given us the gifts and the amazing modalities that we have. We can now use them to better the world. Like, if we search at those hard times when you were a child, a teenager, those things that you wouldn't wish on anybody, if we really look at those things, we say, what are the lessons you learned within those? What are the gifts that you got out of those? Who are you now because you went through that? Now, how can we take those gifts, combine them with your passion, and use them to be in service? right? And not just about let's find a job. Let's find a job or career that complements who you are. So finding that and or unleashing that. It's not about is it there? It's there. It's just about unleashing it within you. So having those different things. So yeah, there's a ton of different exciting things that are happening next year that I'm really excited. And I also, if you guys want to try a breathwork class, I have a free one on my website. You guys can 30 minutes. Yeah, you can, it'll just put your email in and we'll send it right over. So you can 30 minutes of just dialing it in. So
right on. I'll try it.
Doing that.
Yeah, definitely. So Chris,
Cool.
I just want to just tell you, and I hope you're comfortable with this, but you're literally like my real life Thich Nhat Hanh.
Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah, that's what you are to me right now. Everything that you're saying is just, it's so beautiful. It's so powerful. It's really transcending just to such a different level in such a beautiful way. So yeah, you're my real life Thich Nhat Hanh. I just wanted to let you know that, Chris.
So
I hope you
beautiful.
accept.
Thank you. Yeah, I will. Thank you so much. I know the first time we talked, it was like, okay, I gotta go, but we could probably talk for the next 2 hours. So,
right.
You know.
Yeah.
That was great.
And we could have you on here for the next 2 hours, but you know, we all have different lives and different schedules. So Chris, we're just gonna follow up with this. Well, first of all, too, we will, you know, put all of your ways to reach you, any of your workshops, you know, whatever information that you want our listeners to have, we're definitely going to put that into our show notes because you're somebody who needs to be accessed for sure. And that breathwork session, yeah, we can add that too, because I think that that's wonderful. But, you know, we have this question that we like to follow up with our guests. So Julie, you go ahead today.
I love the smiles. Hold on, let me get ready.
No cheating. No.
What are your top 3 ingredients for happy life?
Making sure my cup is full, first and foremost. Taking care of myself, my body, my soul, my spirit. If my cup is full, I'm the best dad I can be. The best husband I can be, the best friend I can be. As my daughter just walked in and she's hungry. Second one is my family. She's looking at me like, feed me. So funny that she's doing that.
She heard recipe. She's like, what you make?
She did. She did. Second one is my family. They just light me up. Like, I mean, just having those little moments. Last night, just falling asleep with my little one in my arms, you know, just having those. No doubt. And then the third is having a career that I love, is being able to do something that I've worked hard to do, that fills me up, is that I'm living my why. I'm able to be in service. I'm looking at leaving, like I said earlier, leaving this place better than I found it, and being able to work with people that want to deepen their belief system, deepen their why, you know, to do the work. I want to have that community around me and just live my best self and fall in love with the journey that I'm on. So
that's beautiful, Chris.
Yeah.
We are so honored you took the time out of your day to come on our show today. We truly are. And, you know, hopefully we'll have you on again, because I'm sure we could talk for 4, 5, 6 more hours. Not a problem at all.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, right.
Yes, that would be great.
So thank you so much for coming on The Pursuit of Wealth today. And like I said, we'll be able to link everything for you in our show notes, but we have great gratitude and thank you so much for sharing yourself with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on.